What's up, everyone? Today I'm going to talk about a major weakness in my drumming and what I've been doing to fix it. So I've been playing the drums for about 20 years now, which is a pretty long time, but despite that, there's still a ton of room for improvement. There's always room for improvement, always. And since I run this YouTube channel and I post clips of my drumming on Instagram and everything, I end up recording and filming myself playing a lot. And over the years of going through footage and recordings and whatnot, I've started to notice some patterns in the way that I play. With a lot of my drum fills and when I'm soloing or improvising or something, I noticed that a lot of my ideas begin on the snare drum and generally follow a sort of clockwise motion and end on the floor tom. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that, but I noticed that that's a thing that I do a lot. And I very rarely go the other direction. And I thought to myself, what if I start on the floor tom and work back toward the snare drum with a counterclockwise motion? And I quickly discovered that that was way more difficult and felt super unnatural. Since I'm a right-handed person, I have a natural tendency to begin ideas with my right hand. And if I'm going in this clockwise motion, leading with the right hand makes a lot of sense. The right hand leads, and the left hand is able to just follow the motion of the right hand. I don't have to worry about getting my sticks crossed up or anything weird like that. But that doesn't work so well with moving counterclockwise. So if I start at the floor tom and try to go back to the snare drum leading with the right hand, it's not impossible. But there's an easier way to go about it. So leading with the right hand but moving in a counterclockwise direction is a bit more challenging because the right hand has to continuously leap in front of the left. And I find that I'll click my sticks together a lot, and it's just really not that efficient of a way to move that direction around the drums. So the solution is to lead with the left hand when moving counterclockwise. So in that case, the left hand moves in front of the right hand, and the right hand is able to just follow the left pretty much the same way that we were able to move around the drums going clockwise, leading with the right hand. It's kind of just like a mirror image. So to practice these movements, I started by using just the toms. And I would go right hand leading to the floor tom, and then I would play 2 kicks, and then flip it to left lead going back to the small tom. So I was playing it like... But as I was increasing the speed of this exercise, the placement of my strokes started to get all over the place, especially with the left-hand lead stuff going back counterclockwise. I was starting to hit off-center of the drums, I was clipping rims and everything. It was bad. So I slowed way down and prioritized hitting dead center on each drum. And to ensure that I was really internalizing these movements and the placement of each stroke, I would practice a lot with a timer. So I would set a timer for anywhere between like 2 and 5 minutes, and I would just keep that pattern on a loop at one steady pace. I wasn't trying to just go as fast as I possibly could. I was prioritizing the accuracy. And 5 minutes feels like an eternity when you're doing just the same thing at one pace over and over and over, but it's one of the best ways to really beef up your muscle memory. Now, what's also cool about this exercise is it conforms to any setup you have. So right now I'm playing on a 5-piece drum set, but what I just demonstrated, I was only using 4 of the pieces, just the rack toms, the floor tom, and the kick. And that kind of works out to 4-beat patterns. If you don't have a mid tom, you could use your snare, rack tom, and floor tom. Still works out to a 4-beat pattern. Or if you don't have any rack toms, you could use the hi-hats in place of the toms. Still works out to a 4-beat pattern. But if you do have a 5-piece drum set or a bigger drum set, if you got even more toms or whatever, you could just use all the drums that you have, and then it's going to give you a different number of beats. So with the 5-piece kit, if I include the snare drum and all the toms and everything, it turns into a 5-beat pattern. But no matter how many drums you have or how many parts you're using for this exercise, it always begins with the right hand, and then you got the 2 kicks, and then it switches to left hand lead, and then 2 kicks back to right, and just flips back and forth between right lead and left lead. And then you'll want to very gradually increase the speed. So in addition to using a timer, you should also use a metronome, of course, and that'll just hold you accountable for the consistency, making sure you're not speeding up or slowing down by accident. And when I practice this stuff now, I essentially have different tiers of speeds and durations that I'll play. So for example, I'll set the metronome at like 150 beats per minute, and I'll be playing at a 16th note rate, and then I'll set the timer for like 5 minutes, and then just for 5 solid minutes, I'll rip this pattern at 150 BPM. Great. But the faster I go on the metronome, I trim the duration down a little bit. So if I really feel like sweating, I'll go to like 180 beats per minute, and I'll hold that for 2 minutes. And toward the end of those 2 minutes, I start getting all tense and everything, and I gotta like fight through the resistance, and stuff starts to get a little bit sloppy, but it's a work in progress. It's gonna continue improving the more that I practice it. Another way I've been messing around with these movements is by using what I think of as spirals. So I'll play the first 3 drums going down, and then kick, kick, and then go back 1 drum, and then finish to the floor tom, kick, kick, and then turn it around, left lead, do the same thing the other way. So it sounds like... And that one little step back during each pass is just enough to break the flow of the movements, and it just makes it a little bit more challenging, but I really like the melodic quality of these types of motions. To make things a little more challenging, you could keep time with your left foot, and that's going to really put your balance to the test. When I started trying to use my left foot underneath this stuff, I noticed that I was putting so much weight on my right butt cheek, and that's not good. So I had to shift some weight over to the left butt cheek and fix up my posture and everything. And there's still plenty of room for improvement, like I keep saying, but I've just been amazed at how beneficial this conceptually simple exercise has really been. When you feel good with these exercises, the next step is to try to do something a little bit more musical with them. So if I'm thinking in 30-second notes or 2 measures of 16th notes, I'll do a phrase where I start with my left hand on the floor tom. I'm going to go all the way back to the snare drum, kick, kick, then all the way back down to the floor tom, kick, kick, and then I have enough time to go all the way back to the snare drum again, kick, kick, and then 2 more snares at the very end, adds up to 32 notes. We could create odd beat patterns out of these as well, so we'll build a 7-beat pattern. So this one's going to start on the small tom. We're going to go all the way down to the floor tom, kick, kick, switch to left lead, go all the way back to the snare drum, kick, kick, and then at the end to come out of it, going to change things up a little bit. We'll go snare, small tom, floor tom, kick, kick, snare, snare. That adds up to 7. So that's pretty much the gist of it. You want to lead with your right hand going clockwise down the drums, lead with your left hand going counterclockwise back up the drums. And by practicing this stuff, I've noticed that I got a lot more confident beginning fills with my left hand, but also coming out of fills with my left hand. And being able to hit that kick and crash on beat 1 with your left hand just opens up so many different possibilities. I didn't realize how limiting it was to only come out of ideas with the right hand. Shame on me, right? But that's what I mean. There's always room for improvement. Take these exercises, practice the heck out of them, see what kind of cool phrases you can work out, just get creative, and yeah, have fun with it. If you like what you saw in this video, check out my Patreon page. Your support grants you access to transcriptions for this video, as well as transcriptions for all my other lesson videos, and follow me on Instagram @DrumMerhar to see more videos of my playing. As always, thanks for watching and see you next time.